One. Hi guys, this is AJ.
And Shannon,
How are you, Shay?
I'm doing wonderful. We have a great show today. So I'm super excited um to be doing the show today because it's really special. We usually don't do Tuesday shows, but we have a really important guest and we have some really important information. We are kind of reaching out to the Tacoma, Washington area today, and I'm going to let our guest, give information about that. But let me introduce her. She is a longtime friend of mine. Her name is Krystal Monteros.
Yes.
Yeah, she's very long time good friend of mine. We met about 10. We were talking yesterday and we figured out that we met about 10 years ago through the Miss Wheelchair America program. So I'm super excited to bring her on. And yeah, Krystal, take it away.
And thank you for having me,
You're
Shannon. Much
welcome.
appreciated.
You're
It
welcome.
was kind of last minute, but hey, I'm
Yeah,
good at
well,
winning
you know,
things.
we, we found out your information and we just wanted to share it. We want everybody to know what's going on with you and kind of see if we can help out with the situation. So if you want to give that information at the top of the show, that way we can get on to bigger and better things and your actually your story. So yeah,
Most definitely. Yeah, so what happened to kind of link this all together? Um, on Friday, I
Mhm.
believe it was.
Yeah.
It was on Friday evening. My a niece of mine, her name is Destiny Lucas, and she is 12 years old here in Tacoma, Washington. I live in Tacoma, Washington.
Right.
Um, but my niece, Destiny Lucas, she actually ran away.
Oh.
Yes. So she's 12 years old. She ran away, and that was on Friday. We are now Tuesday, and she has not been found yet.
Right.
So I had put what happened was I put a post up on Facebook with her picture and description and everything. And that's how me and you connected,
Again, yeah.
Yeah.
linked up and everything. But I appreciate you letting me come on the show.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Um
Wouldn't have it any other way.
yeah, I don't know who is actually going to see this. Honestly,
If anybody can
really
see
she
it,
could be anywhere.
yeah, if anybody sees it anywhere, it would be a huge help. And you guys, we're just calling out to anyone who may possibly see this or hear this. If you have any information, I think to go to the Tacoma authorities,
Yes.
or your
There
local
is a
authority.
there
Go
is
ahead.
a missing persons report with the Tacoma Police Department.
Okay.
Um, and if you want to go to I have a lot of things private on my profile. Look, my name is Krystal Monteros, but I have a lot of things private on my profile that I have public. I have a post with her picture on it with the description of her. She basically, so she's half black, half Mexican. She's real light skinned and has dark black hair,
Right.
kind of like shoulder length,
Right.
and it's curly hair.
And if you guys
Um,
if you guys go to the Don't Burn the Day Facebook, the DBTD, we do have the original post that Krystal posted with a picture of Destiny there. So if you guys hear anything or see this and you might have seen her or even think you have, please, contact your local authorities and let's get Destiny home pretty quickly and
Yes.
safe and sound because we know her family misses her so much. So,
right. I'm asking people to either contact the Tacoma Police Department or you can send me a direct message
right.
um, to tell us where exactly she's found or,
And
where she's been seen or who she's been seen with or whatever. Because really, we're just looking wherever she may be found. And right now, too, I was asking her mom, my sister, I was asking, well, her stepmom, um, if she wanted to come on the show too, but she's
yeah,
just too combobulated to even
of
speak about
course.
it right now.
Yeah, of
So
course.
Of
I'm kind of
course.
doing it in her behalf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, she does. I did want to touch on this. Destiny does have a history. She's 12 years old, but she has a history of mental health
Right.
problems. We don't know exactly what she would be diagnosed with just because
Okay.
I wanted to touch on this because she's a child.
Hmm.
they
it's really difficult to,
it's difficult to diagnose,
yeah,
but we know she has something.
correct.
And she was recently on her medication that the doctor was testing her out on, basically,
Okay.
to see how it would work. Um, and it seemed to be working well the last 3 weeks or so. I wanted to touch on that. The last 3 weeks, it seemed to be working well to calm her down. And as far as we know, my sister, her stepmom, was just telling me about this. She was sleeping through the night. She used to not be able to sleep through the night before, but she was sleeping through the night and everything.
Okay.
But the last 2 days before she actually ran away again, she refused to take her medication.
Ooh,
Ooh.
So that we do think may have something to do with it.
yeah,
She hasn't exactly been diagnosed with anything because, like I said, it's like child thing and
right.
it's hard. But I mean, we were trying to test her out with something, and the fact that she was refusing to take medication, we do think it has something to do with the fact that she ran.
Exactly. Well, we hope with just that information that we're able to help you guys. And I don't know if you would mind, and if you do that, that's okay. But if you don't mind, what we will reach out and say is if you do have information and you can't get a hold of Krystal, or you can't reach your own authorities, you can private message us at
Yeah.
DBTD
Yes.
at DBTD, and we will forward the information to Krystal and her family because I am personally connected to
Right.
Krystal and her family. So you can please privately message us, or use your messenger and let us know any information that you have, and I will go ahead and forward that to Krystal. So,
Most definitely. At this point, we're really just trying anything that we can possibly do to get her home. So
right,
this is just another form of outreach.
right. Well, on a better on a happier note, Krystal, I brought you on too, not just to give this information, but to tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of. I know we were talking before the show yesterday, and I
Yeah.
know we go way back. We're sisters from another mister. I kind of feel like, and especially after our conversation yesterday, I really feel even more connected to you. But do you want to kind of give your personal platform, and again kind of go into how we met and what your heart is for as far as advocacy.
Okay, so we initially met through the Miss Wilshire America program. I was
Okay.
Miss Wilshire Washington 2010.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so my platform actually changed a couple times when I was title holder.
I think that happens
But
with all of us. And if you don't know my backstory, I was also Miss Wheelchair Florida 2010, and we got brought together in the Miss Wheelchair America. Now that's
yeah,
separate. That's separate, but a joint entity with your state program. So
yeah.
if you are a state title holder, you go directly to the Miss Wheelchair America pageant for that year. So that is where Krystal and I met, and we just clicked right away, and we had an amazing time. And yeah, let's just jump back into Krystal telling her story.
Yeah, my platform, by the time I got to the Miss Wilshire America, my platform at Miss Wilshire America was kind of an acronym. So the acronym was HOPES, and it
Okay.
was helping others physically, emotionally, and spiritually.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's what I was, you know, kind of advertising or whatever. That came from my best friend who had passed away. Um, and with that, he was a wheelchair user, and he was just really for, I don't even know if we talked about this yesterday or not, but he was just really for just going after anybody who was hurting in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Whether it was a wheelchair user or whether
Yes.
it was somebody who was like in
Anybody.
gangs or anybody who was like, hurt by any type of violence whatsoever or anything like that. Like, and
Yeah.
to him, he was just like, I just want to help you, whether it's physically, emotionally, or spiritually,
Exactly.
So
Perfect.
he came up with the acronym HOPES. And then
Yeah.
he literally passed away the year or the day that I won my title.
Wow.
Wow.
Kind of crazy, huh?
So that's why I decided to change my platform.
Oh, okay.
Just was it was in honor of him. But to this day, it's crazy. But I still kind of just stand on that,
Yeah.
and it kind of goes towards what we were talking about in
Mhm.
terms yesterday in terms of the domestic violence, because I've experienced domestic violence myself.
And
I'm cool with talking about that.
it's okay. If you know a little bit of my backstory, I haven't gone into everything, but if you know my backstory, I also am a victim of domestic violence. So that's kind of where Krystal and I have reconnected, and we know we're going to do a few things in the future together as
That's
far as
awesome.
that. Yeah, as far as that platform is concerned. Now, today is not the show for that. For
Yeah,
me to go in, for me to
that's I
go in.
wanted to quickly say that I wasn't focused on it, but
But today is not the show for that. But we will bring Krystal back and we will focus on
Yes,
just
we
that
will.
topic. But I wanted Krystal to kind of come on and talk about her own personal transformation, because in the 10 years that I have known Krystal, you have done amazing things with your, not only your platform but your life in general. And as a wheelchair user yourself, I'm just, and as kind of I don't know, your friend, mentor, sister. I watch you. I watch your lives on Facebook. I'm super proud of who you have become and what you're doing, and I just think it's amazing.
I appreciate that. That's like what I was telling you yesterday. It's crazy because a lot of people are coming into my life now,
Mhm.
and they see, and I'm not trying to be cocky at all in any way, shape, or form, but
No,
they see my strength, and they see just what I'm doing now, and they assume that that's just how I always was,
right,
and to me, I'm like, I wasn't always in the spotlight, and I wasn't always, like with this whole, yes, I got this. I wasn't always like that. Like there was a time where I was like, no one's going to listen to a word that I have to say. So there was no point in me saying it,
right.
you know?
I think I kind of, not to say anything because I love you, but I think that I kind of picked that up a little
Yeah.
bit during Miss Wheelchair America, and I was like, girl, you got to get in there. You got to like stand up for yourself, and you know you're awesome. Like I believe in you, and we all just were able to kind of rally behind everyone that was in our class that year, and
I
we
literally say that all the time too. Like when people start telling me about that, I say I ran for Miss Wilshire, Washington, and I went to Miss Wilshire America, and I was still technically depressed
right.
that year. I always tell people that because everybody sees me with the saffron crown and everything, like, oh my God, you
Yeah.
did that, and I was still depressed.
Yeah, it happens. I mean, I think I think that was a huge turning point in my life too. I think all of us here, just because we have a disability, it's kind of like from the word go, we're labeled as advocates because
Yeah,
Yes.
we sit in a chair and we're supposed to know everything about everything there is in the disability community, but we don't. I I didn't really start learning about um, or even wanting to really be an advocate until maybe I was in college, because for the longest time, and I've said this on many different interviews and many different things that I've done, I
mhm,
did I didn't want to be different. I
yeah,
thought I thought of myself in high school and junior high. I was just like everybody else. I kind of
yep,
threw myself in situations just to be, just so that people would have to accept me, because I didn't want to be different. And then when I
Yeah.
realized that life wasn't always easy, and frankly, life was going to knock me on my butt, I was like, oh crap, things are going to be things are going to be different. It is different as a wheelchair user. So I better
It's
start. Go ahead.
it's not it's not gonna be like I expected it to be.
Yeah, it's not going to be like I expected life to be. So I
mhm,
better start learning how to advocate for myself. And then
Yeah.
once I started and realized that I had, frankly, that drive and that power, and I was like, okay, this is really cool. Like I can help people. And frankly,
yeah,
going into my title, I'll be honest. I'll be really frank and honest. I thought starting out that, oh, I'm going to change people's lives and I'm going to do this. and I'm going to do that with my platform. But it completely changed when once I started working on my year, and I realized how many things that I've been involved with and how many people touched my life,
Right.
changed me.
Yeah.
So going into it, I came out a completely different person than I went into it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I'm going to change. It was very eye driven, the purposes that I had for running. But by the end of it, I was like, wow, people that touched me, events that I went to, people that I got to speak to, events that I got to do, things that were happening in my life in conjunction with what I was doing with Miss Wheelchair Florida changed me as a person.
Most
And
definitely.
then, let's not even talk about Miss Wheelchair America and how I think we all were just changed just from that 1 week long experience. So, what, 12 years later, we were talking about this a little yesterday. I really love the Miss Wheelchair experience, but I think, and I would tell anybody who's starting out as an advocate, if you're a young lady and you have that drive, do it. But I think I've developed into the advocate that I want to be, and we're always growing and evolving.
Yes.
But I think I really found my niche and how I want to help people through writing and through, obviously this podcast. So I'm really thankful for my beginnings with Miss Wheelchair Florida.
To me, with both Miss Wilshire Washington and Miss Wilshire Florida, I think each one was like a stepping stone.
True. Yeah, that's basically what I was getting at.
Yeah, each one was a stepping stone or whatever. Like, I think with Miss Wilshire Washington, I was kind of finding out like I do have the ability.
Mm-hmm.
I have the ability to do it. That's just my own personal thing. I have the ability to do it. And then with Miss Wilshire America, when I went over there and those connections and stuff that you were talking about, just, seeing the connections that I made and then seeing everybody else and everything else everybody else was doing.
Right.
Because I seen what I was able to do, but then seeing what everybody else was doing, I was like, oh, maybe I can do that too. Because it brought ideas to me.
Right. And learning about other people's platforms and their,
right.
And just who they are as people, and I look back and I think would I have done anything different during that time? And my answer is no, because it definitely was, like you said, it was a stepping stone, it was a learning experience. But would the woman I am now do it again? Probably not, to be frank. And I again, this is disclaimer here, this is not bashing Miss Wheelchair America or the state program, because I do love you guys, but you guys gave me that stepping stone to realize who I was.
Right.
So as a woman and as an advocate. So, I really appreciate that about them.
Right.
Go ahead, AJ. I think you got something to say. Go ahead.
What got you with this Wheelchair Washington? How did that start for you?
How did that start for you, Krystal? How did you get involved in Miss Wheelchair Washington?
So I actually ran for Miss Wheelchair Washington twice before I won the title.
Okay.
And everything. There was, I told you about this yesterday. There was a title holder who won Miss Wilshire America. Here, she was Miss Wilshire Washington, and then she won Miss Wilshire America.
Okay.
She was, well, at the time she was an employee at the high school that I was, or the college that I was a student at.
All right.
And conveniently, so I was going to the college with my twin sister. I have a twin sister who's able to walk and all that. I was going to the college with my twin sister.
And everybody loves Clarissa, right? Everybody loves.
Right.
Great. Hi, Clarissa. Is that right? Clarissa, right?
Clarissa, yes.
Hi, Clarissa. Tell her I said hi. Tell her everybody said hi. We missed.
I will most definitely. But she actually conveniently, Clarissa ended up having Elaine, the Miss Wilshire America previous title holder, she ended up having her as a teacher for one of her classes.
Oh, wow.
And this was before we even knew Miss Wilshire even existed.
Yeah. Right.
and she ended up having her as one of her teachers. And at that time, I knew a few wheelchair users in the area, but I knew hardly any,
Okay.
and then, my twin sister being my twin sister, she just comes up to me like during school or whatever, and she's just like, oh my God, you know, my teacher, she's a wheelchair user, and
Oh,
like
and
all the
then
stuff.
and then once anybody sees another wheelchair user, they're like, oh my God, they're like you, blah, blah, blah. Like that kind of thing goes on a lot.
Yeah.
Literally, like, I'm sitting here looking at my twin sister like, okay, it's just another wheelchair user,
Yeah.
calm down.
Uh,
What's wrong there, Clarissa?
like we're all supposed to know each other.
Like we're all, yeah.
you know
I don't know if you could understand that, but AJ said like we're all supposed to know each other.
you
Right?
know
One universe, everybody knows everybody, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, eventually we both were on the same campus all the time and stuff, so eventually we ended up crossing and all that. And sure enough, she literally was just like, you're running. She straight told me, you're running for the title.
Oh,
Like, and I ended up running that year. I didn't win that year. And, because the first year I was straight up depressed. I was straight up depressed. And so
right.
she ended up telling me after I didn't win that year, she ended up telling me like, work on this, maybe you should do this. And, she was giving me pointers.
Ooh,
The
ooh,
following year, I ended up, doing it again. And that was when I won.
Well, you won in your
Yeah.
time, and I think you won with the right group because we all have. And I will. Hey, girl. Hey, girl. Hey, but we all just when we connected, I think it was amazing, and we all have. Everybody has at some point in time either visited each other, or
Yeah.
we are planning to visit each other, or we've been connected again through other things, and especially through COVID,
Yeah.
or the pandemic situation, we've been able to use the Zoom platform to kind of reconnect, and so that's been nice. But girl, I am coming to Washington, so you better hold on tight because we are.
Somebody needs to come to Washington to visit me. I keep on saying that. Like, I need to stop taking these trips to go visit everybody else in
Yes,
California
girl.
and Texas and all this stuff.
I will. I am
I've
on my
always
way.
I've always wanted to get up that way, so let's take a business trip up there.
Let's call a business trip. We'll go to Krystal. Yeah, no, but definitely like the first flight out when the situation calms down, we are. Well, I'm headed to Washington, girl, and we
I
gonna.
got y'all. I got an extra bedroom in my house. Shoot.
Hey, shoot! You're gonna show us some sights. We might do a live show from Washington up in your house.
Yeah.
Hey, it works because we can do it from anywhere as
You
long as it's
know?
a computer. But I'm so grateful that you came on, and I definitely want you to talk a little bit more about what your future plans are. What's the next thing with your platform that you got going on, and what are some future things that you have coming? What's coming up for Krystal, really?
So, right now I'm actually working for the Disability Rights of Washington.
Okay.
And my main thing over here is working with public transportation.
Right.
So making it like not just in my area, but all around Washington State, making it more accessible because I don't have a vehicle.
See, we're gonna have you work on that because when we come up there, we gonna need transportation. So girl,
Wow.
I see
That's
you.
for Tacoma, a lot of people don't believe this when I say it. A lot of people are shocked, but for Tacoma alone, the city that I live in, right, they've never had an accessible taxi.
What?
That's terrible. You
A
guys,
lot of people never
get with
believe
it,
this.
Tacoma. Get with it, Tacoma. Come on.
You
Wake up, Tacoma.
We do have. I live in a very small town in outside of the Jacksonville area in Florida, and so I can feel you on that.
Yeah.
Our little city doesn't have it, but when you go to Jacksonville, which is a metropolitan area, they have a transportation system. But is it great? Not really.
Right. That's what I'm
No.
saying. And the one thing that I'm fighting for is an accessible taxi, yes, but an accessible taxi that is just like the other taxi systems.
Yes,
Amen.
ma'am.
I'm not saying to sit there and charge an arm and a leg just because you're a power chair user and your wheelchair is like how many pounds extra, you know? Like
Or
I'm
Yes.
not trying to say that.
or they're, and I don't know if you guys know this, but you know, I've even tried to use Uber as a
Mhm.
wheelchair user, and girl, don't even get me started because we talking about
Right.
some real advocation on that end. Because the first time I tried to use Uber, they're like, excuse me, you're a liability, blah blah
Yeah.
blah. No, sir, no, ma'am, we're not doing that. And I even said like, I will pay you extra if you help me put my chair in, because my electric wheelchair folds up and
Right.
goes into a car. It's about 60 pounds. So it will fold up like a stroller and go into a normal car. But the guy said, no, you're a liability. There's no way. So that's huge.
People don't realize how like that the same thing everybody's always telling me over here too. Why don't you just partner with Uber? I don't want to partner with Uber. Uber gets on my last nerve.
Yeah, no,
I really do.
I feel you, because even though, we have services here, a lot of the services in my town that's outside of Jacksonville will only take you to medical appointments if you have a disability. And excuse me, but I'm not always trying to go to medical appointments when I go, because I
No.
have a normal life. I have other things. I have other
Exactly.
things that I want to do. You know what I mean? And so that's the point, is that I just feel like it needs to be, they, all the transportation systems need to be better in
Yeah.
general. So I don't know. And so I commend you for the work you have done in Tacoma and you're doing. And I really hope that things are, gonna change on that side, because we need somebody like you on in Jacksonville to make some changes. And I know that AJ lives in a small town in Georgia. So but AJ has an accessible vehicle that he can use. So he's very blessed in that sense. And I do have people in my family and things like that that take me, and I have an assistant during the day that can take me out. But it's not about taking me out, it's about, I have a normal life, I want to live it. So I should be able to call transportation and go whenever I need to go.
That's the one
Exactly.
thing we're always saying is the fact that like those in small cities and stuff and those who don't have transportation in those small cities, they still exist. Like
Yeah.
they're still there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, one thing, I don't know if it works with you, but one thing you have to do here, if you're on the transportation system, not only do you have to go through a rigorous sign up process, and you have to show them that you can drive your chair, like you haven't been driving your chair for 30 years. As a,
Oh, you have to call ahead
yeah,
like 2 days.
yes, you have to call ahead 2 days in advance and put your time limits on yourself.
That's the same way it is over here.
And I'm not a person like, okay, I don't want to, have to do that. Like I will do it because it is transportation, but that it kind of sucks, to be honest. And
Yeah.
I would want weekend transportation for wheelchair users too, because a lot of times these, this transportation doesn't run on the weekends. It's
Mhm.
like it's like the transportation system doesn't realize that if you have a disability, you like to go out, you like to do things on the weekend, and
I
so
would think it would be against the ADA laws to not do something with transportation.
well, I mean, it is, but they do just the bare. I don't know if it's what it's like for you in Tacoma, but they here in the Jacksonville area and even outside, they do just the bare minimum to get
Yeah.
by, so that they're grandfathered into the situation and they don't have to answer to anybody.
That's
Oh,
really
okay.
how it is with everything when it comes to it's like the ADA laws, when it comes to transportation, when it comes to housing, when it comes to anything. It's like the bare minimum.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we were talking about as far as bare minimum things go, we were talking about, what it's like to be on insurance and have a disability.
Yeah.
And I know AJ and I have done,
God.
yeah, AJ, I
Yeah.
Jackson, because he knows we've done a show or two talking about having a disability and being on a government insurance system like Medicaid versus a private insurance, and it's all just a mess. It's all just a mess, and that's another show we can all go into. That's
Right.
for another time. But
Totally different topic.
yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
a show for another time, and please come back. We're more than happy to have you on about that. But yeah, again, there's so many different topics that we can converge on and talk about that we kind of feel the same on. I guess it's the same everywhere because, like I said, AJ's in Georgia, I'm in the Jacksonville area, and you're in Tacoma, and we still kind of go through the same things.
Yeah.
And I think I think what it is where you live and the amount of income that you're dealing with. And we also talked about, another thing that's really close to our heart here at Don't Burn the Day is
Jobs.
income and jobs and what that means to people with disabilities. And Krystal, you kind of touched on that personally yourself in our conversation. I don't go into the whole thing, but you want to kind of highlight what you talked about a little bit yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to income, it's like, yeah, I want to work. I'm able to work. I have a disability and everything. That doesn't necessarily mean that I can't work. I can do certain positions.
Yeah, exactly. Like all of us. Yeah.
I can do certain positions, but at the same time, it's like what I was saying in our conversation is like, I may be able to do a position for a certain amount of time, and it's hard to explain, but it's like, I just don't know how long I would be confident with doing that position.
Because the government system, no matter where you are, if you're on a government system, which i.e. if you receive a check from Social Security,
right,
or any other kind of
because I'm currently on Social Security. I didn't say that.
I think we all enjoy the benefits of whatever little bit of a check that we do receive. Yeah. But if you receive a check, and again, disclaimer, we're not bashing the Social Security income system, because if you need it, you need it, and we all, like I said, we all enjoy those benefits. However, are they really benefits, or are they keeping us down? That's the question.
Because it only allows you to work a certain amount of hours, or get a certain amount of wages before it actually is like, no, you can't work no more. Otherwise, you're totally cut, like, forever.
Yes, ma'am. You are totally cut from.
So right.
You're totally cut from your insurance, and you're totally, well, not just your insurance, but you're totally cut from any income. They will cut you off, girl. They will like cut you off.
And how hard is it to? And I say forever because how hard is it to get back on? That's why I said forever.
It's
so hard.
It's a process to get back on.
Yeah.
They will cut you off, and they will also cut any kind of insurance benefits that you have as far as Medicaid as well. So that's again, that's another show for another time. But I just wanted to kind of relate that so many people, Krystal and AJ and myself included, are in that bracket where we enjoy the jobs that we have, because each of us have a little bit of a job, and we're thankful for those. But there's so much more that we can do, but we're tied down by government red tape in how much we can do.
And if I may add too, a lot of regular society act like we don't want to go to work.
Yes. Say it again for the ones in the back, girl.
I'm just saying. That's one thing that bothers me. A lot of society acts like I don't want to, and it's like,
it's a stereotyping situation.
Because
they see us in the chairs, and they think, oh, they wouldn't be able to do that job, or oh, this and that, and it's not true, because most of us, if you have a job, or if you've even been able to work for a period of time, if you know anybody with a disability, they're mostly the workers that you want to keep, because they know what it means to have a job, and they know what it means to keep it. And so, if you have a disability, you don't think that we don't want to work, because that's not true.
It sucks because there are people that work that don't want to work every day, but we want to work and would put in the hours
We want
to
to be
do
we want to be
so.
contributing members of society, right?
Yeah, but there are people that just ride the clock and just do the bare minimum to get paid. They don't care about how well they do their task.
Yeah,
They just want to get paid.
they want.
And mind you, a lot of us too, because we do want to work, but we don't want our checks taken away from us.
Mm-hmm.
We tend to, because we want to do something, we tend to do a lot of volunteer work that we don't even get paid for.
Say it again, louder, girl. Like, please,
Yes,
that is the
you're,
truth.
You know,
So,
preaching today.
that is so true. That is that we are talking about some real hot button topics in the
I'm
disability.
just,
Hey, girl, Krystal brought it with her today.
this is
Yes.
all the stuff I'm always.
But I really agree with you because I mean, starting out, you know, you're like, okay, if I can't work, I'm gonna contribute somehow. So how do you
Yeah.
do that? You volunteer. You give up your time. But you know what's funny is when you do start working and you do qualify your work, especially if you have like a side hustle, quote unquote, um, and you do start asking for money for your work, people are like, oh, well, I don't know if I can pay you for that because you did this for me for free 10 years ago. I'm like,
Yeah.
excuse me, I know my own worth. You know your own worth. AJ knows his own worth. So, I mean, you know,
They they think we'd be happy just to do something, to have something to do.
and
Like
you know what? This is, I'm gonna jump into this, and this was not expected. But it came to my mind with this topic because this it ends up to be the show is like a mismatch of everything disability. It's fine. Like I absolutely I'm in love with the show, and thanks again, Krystal, for everything you're bringing to light. But
yeah,
uh, can we talk about um workshops for those like I don't know what you institutional workshops? You know, like
Mhm.
the workshops that pay participants like not even $1
Yeah.
every 30 minutes to work, like transitional workshops. That's ridiculous. People, just because you have a disability, you deserve to get a normal wage. If you're doing a
Right.
normal job, if you're doing any type of job, do not send these people into institutional workshops or day program workshops and give them 35 cents a piece of whatever they put together.
Right.
Come on, let's like that's a real serious hot button for me. I don't know how
no,
y'all feel about it, but like
yeah,
people are
no, no other person would like to get paid 35 cents per hour or whatever
well,
it is.
it kind of it's not even per hour, it's by what they do, it's what they produce. So it kind of goes back to what you were saying, AJ, about people just expect that we're going to want to do something with our time. I
Right.
would, you know, and these people who go to institutional workshops or day programs, yeah, they may not have the same kind of intellectual abilities that you or I or Krystal have, but they're people and they deserve the same respect. It all comes down to respect. People,
Right.
people, person is a person, and they deserve what everyone else deserves.
Amen. I couldn't have said it any better.
And you know, I mean, Krystal, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about that topic?
No, I totally agree. And I'm trying to think of there's a program out here this way that is kind of similar to what it's so it's not what you're talking about, but it basically is a program for those who can't work like a full-time job,
Correct. Yeah.
but it still does pay them like an hourly wage like everybody else.
Oh, see, that's great. And a lot, I will say, a lot of, I've seen a lot of people kind of coming around to disabled individuals are able to work. So I'll see coffee shops opening up that will that will hire people with disabilities
Yeah.
or intellectual disabilities, or I'm going to call one specific disability Down syndrome out.
Right.
I've seen a lot of those pop up here and there and everywhere, but it's still such a hot button issue because people are people and they deserve a normal way.
Right.
And
And
go
to
ahead.
me, that's something that we need to advocate for, because like I said, maybe it's just the advocates that we are, but I mean, to me, that should be normalized.
Yes.
Yeah.
It should be so normalized. Like,
Mhm.
honestly, I don't see why that's not just a part of the ADA.
It should, well, part of it is, but some laws need to change. We all know some laws need to be updated within the ADA.
Right.
Yeah.
It's 20
That's what I mean. Like, why isn't it more
Yes.
specific?
right. It's 2021 and a lot is going on in the world. However, like you, Krystal, you support yourself. You have bills,
Mhm.
I have a family, I have children. I have, I maintain my household. I pay the bills. I do all of it. I'm independently. I do all of it. AJ does the same. So,
Yeah.
people with disabilities are building lives for themselves and they deserve to be able to have the wages that are going to help them do that. You know, and a lot of these government programs, again, put restrictions on what they're allowed to have or what they're allowed to do.
Right.
A lot of us can't buy houses. We can't have over a certain amount of money in our bank account before government programs start taking it away. You
Mhm.
know, we just had a show a few months back that kind of we talked to the developer or the one of the big wigs over at Stable Account, and we're both, AJ and I are really big advocates for Stable Account. Why? Because they don't take away from your Social Security or your checks or whatever other kind of government checks you receive. They don't take away from that. They will let you put it in, but they don't put a cap on it when you
Right.
put the Stable Account.
Yeah.
So and it's real. That's a really good thing, and we have just kind of been navigating that and learning about that. So um, big up to big ups to Stable Account because we love you.
Yeah.
Don't ruin the day, but yeah, we are just really huge advocates, and obviously that's why AJ started the show is because he wanted to do something that would show the ability of somebody with a disability. And I was thankful that he brought me on in August. Um, when was it? Well, wow, it's almost been
Holy crap.
AJ. It's almost been
No, man.
years.
Almost been a year.
Like well,
Almost
yeah, a
been-
year, yeah, a full year of me being co-host. But yeah, I'm so grateful. And AJ and I have also we've also been connected for about 10 years because we met during my reign as Miss Wheelchair Florida because he was a
Oh,
photographer.
really?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was a photographer at
Yeah.
an event that I was at an event that I was actually at as Miss Wheelchair Florida. AJ was a photographer because he has his own like side business as a photographer as well.
Okay.
Yeah, AJ's doing big things up in Georgia, doing big things.
Hey.
Yeah. I
Well,
try.
guys, we want to start wrapping the show up. We want to thank Krystal for being on the show today. We're so grateful for you. And Krystal, please, you're welcome.
Go back.
Yeah, please come back anytime. We have a lot of topics that we could refer back to.
Right.
We had a wonderful time, and you guys, thank you for just listening to the show today, and we hope you got some value out of it. And please, please remember that if you hear anything about Destiny or see her, please contact either Don't Burn the Day on our Facebook or contact Krystal directly. And let's get this girl home.
Or the authorities.
Yeah, contact the authorities in your area. Let's just get the girl home safe and sound.
That would be very much appreciated. Thank you.
Again, everybody, thank you for Krystal. Thank you for coming on the show. We've really enjoyed it. It was a great show. And
Thanks, Krystal.
yeah, we want to
Definitely.
and for our regular listeners and for our Facebook members in our group, we want to let you know we're excited to bring to you that AJ, since you're the man of the show, you want to tell them what we got coming up? And
we are hoping to go on a trip.
wait, no, we're not there yet. But
Okay.
we want to, we know we've been promising. Go ahead, AJ. You're ready. Okay.
Oh, okay.
You got this. You got it. Go ahead.
We're hosting our first Facebook Live.
Yes, you guys, for all the people that have been asking in our Facebook group, and we've been telling that we're going to do it because we hit 100 likes in our Facebook group a couple months ago, but we had to take a hiatus for a little bit. The live is coming, you guys. The live is coming. It will be here in 2 weeks. We are going to go live on YouTube. That is right. We are bringing to our, we are bringing DBTD, Don't Burn the Day, to YouTube, you guys. We're bringing it to YouTube. AJ, how you feeling?
I feel good about it. You'll get to see all our episodes.
Yeah, that's right. Every single episode that we've done in the past few weeks will be over on YouTube. You guys can check it out. Every single episode that we will do from now on will be over on YouTube. And you guys will be able to chat live with us. You'll be able to see us. We'll be able to answer all your questions. So with that in mind, we ask that if you have any questions that you want to send into the live, please do that through our Don't Burn the Day. Message us or email us, and we will get to all of those during the live, hopefully. But you guys, we're going to YouTube. We're going to go to YouTube. Oh my gosh.
That's awesome.
So much forward up, guys.
Yeah, we are so excited. We've been working so hard on developing the show and just wanting to bring you great content. But you guys, we decided to bring our live to YouTube and let anybody and everybody who wants to be involved and listen in, just or even be a part of it, just be a part of it with us. Just join the Don't Burn the Day community, and it's gonna be a fun time. It's gonna be a fun time.
Super. Thanks, Shannon, for a great show.
You're welcome.
And thanks to our guests.
Yeah, thanks, Krystal. Yeah.
Most definitely. Thank you guys for having me.
You're welcome. And again, you guys remember, bring any information you have about Destiny. If you want to reach out to us or Krystal directly. And remember, you guys, the YouTube live will be happening in 2 weeks. And yeah, we will have the YouTube link. You can join it immediately, and you'll be able to see us and interact with us there. So yeah, I think I heard our timer, AJ, so we're gonna wrap it up and say goodbye for tonight. Thanks again, Krystal. We love you, and we hope you'll be back on the show. AJ?
Keep us updated, Krystal.
Yeah, please keep us updated, Krystal.
I will.
And AJ, I'll see you next week, buddy.
See you next week, sure.
Had a wonderful time. Had a wonderful time today.
Always do.
And we'll see you on the flip side, guys.
Peace.
Bye, everybody.
Yes. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, Krystal.
Bye, Krystal.
Bye.
And bye, everybody. We're out, guys.